Yeah, it's Alex Perez, little behind the scenes on the beats.
Can you tell me?
Usually when I start beats, I start auditioning samples, basically getting a sound palette together relative to the kind of sound I'm going for. I get, you know, like a kick and snare and some hats, get a few variations of each. So yeah, it's just getting like really strong sounds and then basically starting layering all the beats together and getting a groove going.
In the writings of the prophets, clerics, wordsmiths, philosophers and scholars, in the spoken words of the great leaders, orators, activists and poets.
Once I've got all my drums together, I've got a hardware compressor which I run it through and I re-record it back into Logic, so everything's limited and compressed and nice and tight in terms of volume. If it's a tune with samples, I'll bring my sample onto the arrange page, start cutting it up, maybe pitching it up and down, basically adding some effects and just getting a basic groove to base the track around. I don't always sample, sometimes it's all original sounds. So I might play like a few chords on the Juno or on the Virus or whatever synth I'm using. So start with a few chords to kind of get the main hook of the track and then keep adding slowly, just recording audio. I mix down as I go along, so I'm constantly tweaking throughout the track while I'm making it, because then you've already got kind of half mixed down tune. With the vocalist, it's a different approach. I mean, I like to, basically I'll send the idea of a track, maybe not a finished version, but a loop with the main hook, like an intro, and then a 16/32, maybe a chorus, and send it. And if they're happy with it, they'll lay some vocals down. And then after that, I usually work the track around the vocal, maybe take elements out that were already there, they're not necessarily working with the vocal, and basically work around it and finalize it as one thing. The last process is leveling everything, making sure the vocals are sitting right, drums, bass, the mix is clean, that it's not distorting or clipping or anything. A lot of EQing, basically taking frequencies out, not doing anything but actually clouding the mix. Just little bits, quite subtle, but final touches that are gonna make a difference on the final mix.
Excuse me.